A couple of things that I'm just going to go over with you because we have a pretty good day today, hopefully, for most of you anyway. For the plumbing side in particular, Kevin had asked me yesterday to put a couple of recurring events in for basically for the water softeners, for basically servicing them, and then also the reverse osmosis to service those. So the water softener is every 6 months, and then the reverse osmosis is every 12 months. So I did put those in the system now, and they do come up as a price. So I tried a couple different ways of doing it, and talking to Service Titan, the best way was to do it this way. So when you put a task in for one of them is Y33 is the task number, but when you go in there to put in annual filter replacement for reverse osmosis, which is under the water filtration system, or tasks, Y33 basically charges, I don't remember the dollar amount that it charges, but it shows the charge in there. So I guess that's up to you, Kevin, if you want to. The guy suggested if we want to make it a $0 deal, or we're including it in the price of the system for the first to come back in 12 months or 6 months, we can always adjust that price. But now it is set up in the system. Once that task is put in, just like an HPC task would be put in, it becomes recurring, meaning in that 6 months or 1 year time, it will alert us that, like an HPC basically, it'll give us the information saying, hey, let's call this customer to come back in and service their system, whatever it is. Okay?
Yeah, on that note, if you guys think of anything that would be reoccurring, in other words, even if it's like something, maybe a drain line with roots, do you want to see that every 2 years? Should we go back out and, so if you want to see something reoccurring, we can add that into the system so that, let's just say we go out and we jet a line with roots, okay? As a classic example would be yard drains. We know damn well those things are going to grow back in. Do we want to call them every second year, third year, whatever the case is? But if you guys think of something like that, let's put it in there. So what happens then is, we don't just forget about these people. We can call them up and say, hey, remember a couple of years ago, we jutted your yard drains, and now it's probably time to revisit that so they don't get out of hand. It won't cost as much as long as you maintain it. And we can set the expectation up front too that we'll be calling you in a couple of years. And that customers love that, by the way. They love to be, they love those notices. So anyway, if you think of something, let us know, let Alan know, let myself know, and we'll get it in there.
Okay, so and on that case, if I ever do put anything in, you still have to put the task in. So let's say, for an example, if you put a regular drain task in to clear a drain, the difference in this, if we want something recurring, then we have to go in and say we have to add a task for a recurring task. So maybe it would say roots and drain, or removing roots task, and I can add that task, and then I attach it to the recurring system. And then, so you'd have to go in, once you realize there's roots, you can go in and put a $0 charge for it, but the task has to be in there for it to let us know in that time frame, be a year, 2 years, 3 years, whatever it is. Okay, so I can do that. Now I fooled with it yesterday for a couple of hours, but I figured out how to do it. So I have Bryce in here for a reason. I wanted him to be here for you guys to understand some changes that are being made with him, because there's been, what's been going on in the past month plus since I've been here is I'm seeing Bryce is scattered and he's all over the place, and everyone wants things from Bryce. And when we've got 10 or 12 people in here wanting gas, wanting parts, wanting this, wanting that, he's only one person, and he's oh, and I got, by the way, we got a nail in the tire. I got to get that replaced. It's just there's so many things that everyone throws at him, and he's having a hard time prioritizing certain things. So then, of the 10 people that are asking him for things, 2 or 3 aren't getting their stuff on a regular basis, and then next week they are, and the other guys aren't, and it's just been this big mess. and everything from rags to gloves to whatever, doesn't matter. So we've been we made some changes. Him and I talked about a few things a couple different times now. We're trying to work on getting that better. So he's managing his time better. Hopefully that's the goal anyway. He's trying to plan out his days where he can spend this time getting you guys out here in the mornings and then do the things he has to do in between, in the middle of the day, and then kind of plan for the next day at the end of the day. So if he has anything to say, I'll let him go ahead and give it a couple minutes here before he goes back and starts getting ready to get you guys out of here.
All right, so from 6 to 7, I'm usually here trying to get material, getting you guys loaded up with gas and everything, okay? When you guys come in, that's my focus of trying to get you guys out of here. So between 7 and 9 is when you guys need to give me all the lists, whatever you guys need, gloves, tarps, whatever you need to do, you let me know right away so I can pull it. And then from now on, I'm gonna not allow anybody in that warehouse because we're having stuff going missing. We have, people in and out of there taking gloves, 2 boxes of gloves when they only need 1 box, okay? So my situation is get you guys out of here, get gas, and then you guys go on with your day. If you guys know what you need for the next day, you let me know before, between 11 and 12, I can pull the parts, and whatever we don't have here, I can go to Ferguson or Home Depot or whatever the hell you need. That is my priority, okay? Then during the day, if you guys need parts for the same day, then I have no problem, if it's right away, then I think me and Alan have discussed it. You guys need to go order it, get a PO, and then call me for payment, and then you guys, take it with you, or whatever you guys do, okay? So just focus on between 7:30 and 9 o'clock. That excludes Monday, Wednesday, Fridays. 7:30 to 9 o'clock is when you guys need gas, parts, and whatever you guys need out of that shop, okay? So question is how long is this gonna be? It's gonna be a long time. We need to get that warehouse under control, okay? But we can't get it under control when you guys go in there. So I'm gonna discuss more stuff, and we're gonna go. I got the inventory stuff almost taken care of. Me and Alan are working with it, but that's the next process. Is getting you guys get the inventory. You guys don't need 20 of everything, okay? We're gonna have a limit on every part in that truck, so you guys have limited stuff. But the same day you guys use it, that parts list needs to be filled out with the PO number, and you give it to me right away, so I can pull the parts. Okay? So, any questions?
Okay, I'm gonna add, you can go ahead and take off. I'm gonna add a couple of things that are gonna change regarding gas or fuel. We're signing up for the booster, which is a fuel service that's gonna be coming here in the evenings, a couple nights a week. It's probably gonna be a couple weeks before it starts. The issue is for those of you who take your vehicles home, obviously we're either gonna have to have the vehicle here for 1 or 2 of those days a week, or we're still gonna have to fill you guys up. That's the only issue with that. So if you take your vehicle home,
They won't come to our house.
no, they're not gonna go to your house. Then they're not gonna fill them up. Because basically they bring a truck here, guys, they'll load up, they'll get here between like 8 p.m. and 6 a.m. They'll fill up the vehicles, and they have a system, green and red, you put in the dash if you need gas or not. So if you're green, that means they're gonna fill you up. If you're red, they're not gonna fill you up. And so that's how that's gonna be working, but right now we're getting on the schedule. It's probably gonna be within a week or 2. They haven't given me an exact start date yet. I'm trying for Monday, Wednesday, Friday to start with. It may just be Monday and Friday, and then we'll see if we need Wednesday, but it just depends on, because all the trucks, based on mileage and all that, we're looking at seeing some of them need it more often than others, because you guys are going all over the place more. And week to week may be a little different, but we're going to see how it goes. It's actually going to save us money with the time that we spend getting gas in the morning just with Bryce alone. It'll save us those hours and hopefully be able to get some of the stuff done that I haven't been able to get done with him. So that's coming, just kind of giving you guys an idea. Decided to try that. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. There's no contracts or anything, so I can say, all right, this isn't working, we're going to be done, but I want to try it out. I have another plumber that we're going to be bringing aboard. the guy's got some experience and energetic, and just seems like he'd be a real good fit for us. So as long as he passes his background and drug test, we'll be bringing him here probably next week. Advertising, a couple of things that have been going on with the advertising. I talked to the company, Kevin, that's doing the marketing stuff for us, AMI, and basically talking to Ken. So what they're going to do is they have to put the two sites together, the Calca and the Ben, which they have a way of doing it that's going to, normally when you put a website together, it's really, really expensive and it takes a lot of time. But they have like a template type of situation that they already have that they're going to kind of combine our stuff into, and they can have it done within 6 weeks. And I'll tell you about the financial part of it later, but as far as that's concerned, they'll have both of them there, and then we'll have one site that's Calca Plumbing, Heating, and Air, and then all of the way that they market stuff and to get the pay-per-clicks and all that stuff on there will be working. So 6 weeks is pretty quick. Normally it's like 3 to 4 months, 6 months. I mean, it just depends on how big the site is. So these guys are going to do it a lot faster, and it's actually a lot less expensive too than a normal site being built from scratch. So the Ben Franklin one will go away because we don't own that one, and we don't own Calca either, is what he told me, right?
Right.
Okay, so those will both be gone, and then we'll shut those down, and then we'll have our own. So when it comes to marketing, I'm telling you guys just so you understand that marketing is obviously what gets us leads a lot of times, right? And the way that I'm not an expert in this, but the way they're able to, put the keywords in when people type things in from all the different search, engines, and make it come to our site more often than not is what they're doing. And rather than some going here and some going there and some going another place, they're going to try to get it all to come to us, and that will increase our leads. But again, we're talking 6 weeks for that before it's ready. So I'm just kind of giving you guys that heads up and what's going to be expected, because then we're going to be getting into our busy time by then too. So in addition to having more leads from the marketing side, we're going to be getting just in general, plumbing is going to go up, and then eventually, shortly thereafter, HVC should be coming up. So those are the main things that are happening and changing and going on here soon. So I just wanted to give you guys that heads up. Inventory. Just throwing in what he mentioned about inventory. The trucks have to be inventoried, and I have not had the time for him to be able to spend enough time on one truck to get an inventory going at a time. So that's my goal and has been my goal, but it's just, like I said, he's just all over the place. And inventory on the trucks, though, like I said, has to be somewhat minimized, where we have enough to do the basic calls, stuff for a call that you do on a regular basis. That stuff on the truck is fine. But we can't have excess materials on a truck. So if anybody has excess materials, it's just paperweights, or it's, as it gets shifted around from driving and bumping and everything else and ruined. I know how that happens. I mean, I've had, plumbing trucks, and they have so many parts in there by the time you get done with, it doesn't matter what it is, if it's a Smitty plate or a shower valve, and now the chrome is all scratched, and you're taking it out and you're moving it to get parts out of here and all over the place. That stuff happens. So if there's stuff that you don't have, we can put it back in the warehouse, and then when someone does have it, it's here, rather than us having to try to search for it. And the next thing I wanted to mention was, equipment. I heard yesterday that Sarah needed a working leak detection unit, because the headphones weren't working right or something, right?
It's the connection to the mic.
Okay, so the mic. So, and then we're trying to find, do we have one somewhere? And I'm hearing, well, mine doesn't work, and mine doesn't work, and
Nobody's works all of a sudden.
Nobody's works all of a sudden.
Well, how always
so
Mine's
now,
been working, but that connection always gets loose for some reason, and we've had to get that maintenance every so often.
yeah, I mean, the bottom line is, guys, if everyone has equipment out there that doesn't work, then how are we gonna do our jobs properly, right? I mean, so if something's broke, something needs fixed, you guys need to let us know so we can get it taken care of. Because it doesn't help anybody to have equipment sitting in your truck that doesn't work. I mean, it's nice to have backups, but if the backups are even broke, then we don't even have backups, right? So please let us know if you have something that's not working so we can get it fixed, so that when someone needs it, we have it. Okay? Anybody have any questions, concerns, comments? No? Kevin?
Ew, not at this time.
Not at this time.
I'm speechless.
Speechless.
Really?
Wow. Is that a first?
Yeah, right?
I don't know.
I always got something to say.
Yeah, rough day yesterday.
Yeah, he's just tore apart.
Spent.
Moving isn't good for anybody.
How was that rain out there, man? Thunder like crazy or what? My parents were saying
Yeah,
it was
so
nuts.
John. I mean, Jesse.
Oh,
It wasn't that bad out here.
One thing-
It, like,
one
rained
thing-
for like 2 hours.
one thing I do wanna mention, and I'll send you guys a link,
Wetsuits.
and you guys can see what we're talking about. But Phil brought to my attention this device, it's gonna be about $500-600. And, you know how we use warthogs to get through roots? He said this cuts it like to a fraction of the time, like a 1/10 of the time. And it's this really cool bit, you'll see it, I'll send you the video. And what they did is they had a section of yard drain, I mean it was impacted, like I'm talking maybe 15 feet.
Oh,
Just
geez.
completely, like, with just solid roots. And what they did was they took this section out and then they taped it, so, you know, because it was cut pipe, so it wouldn't open up and you could see all the roots in it and everything. And they run this thing through there. And I mean, in seconds, it just blew everything out of there. It was just amazing how they did it. You know, they had to strap it down, of course, on a bench and all that. And, you know, but this thing's really badass.
And it's smaller, huh? Because the
it's-
warthog, you can't get in everything.
It,
You gotta
it's
go through
about
a- you gotta go
about
through a
that
cleanup.
big, and
Oh, it's
and
big.
yeah, so it, you know, getting it into something like they were talking about, it'll make a 90-degree on 4-inch. Well, that means it won't on 3-inch, right?
Right, because I noticed
Okay.
with like the warthog, is you know you can't just.
But with
throw
yard
that in the
drains,
closet bin.
yeah, with yard drains,
And
when
try to
we
get to
when
the
we
sewer.
have sections of yard drains like this, a lot of times, you know, Phil has to work like 8 hours
It's a lot.
just to clear these lines, you know, and it costs a fortune. Well, because we got this, or getting this new device, it's gonna burn right through that stuff like butter. And so typically what happens in those scenarios is we have to get to a straight piece. In other words, we dig up a section, we cut it out, and then we're able to go this way, and then we're able to go that way, you know.
Right.
But a lot of times this is under people's pool decks, and you know what I mean. So it's in an environment that is very, very costly to fix this stuff. And so, you know, meaning their other option is to jackhammer up their concrete. You know, it's not a good option, right? So anyway, I just wanted to let you guys know, and I'll send you guys a link to that. I guess I'll send it to Alan, and Alan could get it to you guys. But it's important to know that we've got this special tool now, or we'll be getting it here shortly. So that, you know, especially with these rains, it's pretty significant. And that's why, you know, you guys, you know, this is something that, you know, conversationally you can talk to the customers and, you know, talk to them a little bit about maintaining their yard drains, because they may have some issues, especially people with pools.
Let me add something to that, because, and Kevin hopefully will appreciate this, just because what we had a conversation before. When you have a tool like that, guys, it's like the jetter, $60,000 jetter. We're the ones that had to pay for that tool. It's expensive. So when we're going out and jetting, that's why the cost is what it is because our jetter is better than some, you know, chuck in a truck that's got a, you know, little compressor and, you know, a jetter that doesn't do half of what ours does. You know, doesn't have the power, pressure, and so on. So when you get a tool like this and you go through something like butter and they seem, oh, that's easy. Well, the deal is we charge more because we have to pay for that tool. It's very expensive. We have to maintain that tool. So just keep that in mind if we're charging somebody for that. It may be easier for us, but we don't want the customer to think that it's so easy that it's not worth, there's no value there. You have to add the value on that type of stuff when you have that kind of equipment. Okay?
And very, very few plumbers do what we do, you know, in that regard.
Yeah, People find it hard to believe that that unit's 60 grand.
Yeah.
You can just Google it real quick and show them, be like, hey, look at it. You know, when if that thing breaks on this, it's gonna cost something if the
You
whole
know,
thing itself is
It's like
$60,000.
Mercedes.
This is why it costs this much. You know?
Add another $15,000 in the back of that truck,
All
Right,
the
just
heads
for
and
just
stuff,
for cameras and cables,
Right,
right? Drain
Right.
cleaning equipment.
yeah.
You know,
Well,
so
that's huge.
and then the truck, you know, 40, 50 grand,
Right,
right?
just gotta tow that big boy.
And
Full
you know
water.
what I mean?
Yeah,
And
no.
and before you know it, then you got a guy,
That's 150,000.
you got a 6-figure guy operating it basically, right?
Right,
So
should be.
yeah, right?
If we ain't, we got issues.
So there's a reason that it costs, you know,
Right.
and you got to break it down.
Right,
Let them know, you know, that's, and 90% of the plumbers out there don't have what we have,
Right.
period, you know, and I just believe in good tools. 90% of companies out here don't have a trick puller,
right.
so, anyway.
You say something else, John?
Oh, yeah, and this isn't a critical comment, it's just an observation, I've only been here 3 days, but I went with Kevin to a job the other day where they had installed a new Maytag AC unit, and we got a call back because the motor was a warranty issue and the blade was making a noise, so I went with Renar yesterday, and the control box was not caulked, which means that it wouldn't have passed inspection. And then the owner came out, the lady, but her husband went out after we were all gone and everything, and he had a handful of crap that we had left at the job site, like some wires and pipes, and this is minimal stuff. And he gave it to me. He goes, "Is this yours?" And I says, "Well, it looks like our droppings from our job, you know." And he says, "Okay." He goes, "So, you know, on the sales side, we want to, you know, make it a full circle to where when we're done, double check that, you know, we're caulking, so we don't have to go back after an inspection isn't passed, and then that starts to get the word out that these guys didn't do that, and they didn't do this, and they leave their shit laying around, and so just an observation.
Mhm.
I think that's important.
It is
Yeah.
clean up. You know, it's funny. I've had customers tell me that when I used to go into the bathrooms and work on a toilet or something like that, and they always told me my bathroom is cleaner now than it was when you got here before you even started working. You know, and that's what you're going for, because what do they know
Yeah.
about whether you did a good job or not? They don't. They have no clue, unless it doesn't work,
Right.
right? But that's the minimum standard. Hey, whatever you just did has to work, okay? But beyond that, it's those little things that we're talking about that make either a good or bad impression with the homeowner. And I can tell you this, my first condo I bought, this is how impactful this is. My first condo I bought, I got an alarm system, okay? And, you know, wife, kid, you know, and my first purchase, big deal to me, right? So I had an alarm system put in. And this guy, you know, they had the little sensors in the corner of the room, right? So you can see somebody walk in, motion detector, right? He left fingerprints on the wall. And months went by, and I was just angry. I don't know why I never called the company and said, "Hey, come out here and clean your fingerprints." But think about this. That was like 30 years ago. I still remember this shit, right? That's what I remember. I don't remember if it was a good system, a bad system, and none of that.
And you're
you
the
know.
customer at this time now.
Yeah, I was the
Yeah.
consumer, and that's what I'm talking about. Like, damn, I work hard for my money. I work hard for that condo, right? It meant everything in the world to me, right? That was my blood, sweat, and tears. And that guy left his freaking fingerprints up there, like, you bastard. Like, I painted this room, everything looked perfect, and that's all you see is fingerprints, right? That's where your
On
eyes
every
are.
single one?
No, just on one.
Oh, shit.
That
There
is
was,
annoying.
what is it? This was a 900 square foot place. I think I only had one sensor.
Yeah, only a couple corners.
But the point is that that's what I remembered.
Right.
Okay, so yeah, I'm just telling you that these little things really are very meaningful. You always want to leave the place cleaner than when you had gotten there. You know, and that's gonna have more impact than whether the thing works or not.
Right.
They expect it to work. That's what you do for a living, you know, that's an expectation, minimal. Okay,
Even if it's out of sight, guys,
yeah,
I'll tell you that I had a customer just very similar to, and Nick was telling me yesterday, or the day before yesterday, he was telling me about the job he went to, and he was under the unit, and there was a pipe leaking, right? Drain pipe. Well, I remember we had a job that, and he said the guy would not go into the house. He said, I'm not going underneath there, right? Wouldn't go underneath and look at it. I had a guy, an old guy in his 70s, that wanted to see the work we did, went underneath his house, and saw all the old cast iron that we just left thrown under the house. Again, what kind of impression did that leave?
Not a good one.
Right? So, you know, those types of things really can affect not only that customer, but the customers that they tell about us going down the road.
Yeah.
And for every negative complaint, there's 10 people out there that are going to hear about it in most cases.
It
Right
takes
now,
like-
Kevin just told how many of us about it. And we
Right.
don't know who that company is, but I'm sure this isn't the first time he's mentioned that to somebody. So
Yeah.
we don't want the negative stuff. We want the positive stuff.
It takes 30 years sometimes to develop relationships. It takes about 30 seconds to ruin one.
Yeah.
You know, so it's important, at least on my side of the business, the sales side, when I go into an existing customer to grow the business for us, that they're not thinking in their mind, oh, the fingerprints on the wall, the horse shit on the floor, and blah, 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 you know, they're thinking, oh, these guys got their act together, you know,
Horse shit on the
so, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's important, I think, that we follow through on that side of it. And sometimes everyone is so busy, you have to take a second when you're done and say, okay, you know, in your mind visually say, did I do this, did I finish that, and just take a double quick check, you know, it takes 30 seconds to do that. So that's my input.
Yeah, I appreciate it, John.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and one other thing is like, for an example, I was just thinking of this when we were talking about it, is in my house, I have contractors doing some stuff at my house. And I got up in my attic and I ran some speaker wires for my surround sound, right? So I was up there doing that, crawling through all that crap. But I knew my contractors had been up there, and my light worked when I went up there the first time. I had to go back the next day to do something else. I think pull the wire for the computers, you know, I had an Ethernet wire. And the light was out. And not only was it out, it wasn't even, the bulb wasn't on there anymore. And I'm like, so I got my flashlight, then I had to go downstairs to get a flashlight, and I'm going. And the bulb was thrown, like someone, it was in a bad place because the roof's doing like this, right? The guy, I hit my back almost on it once when I was trying to get through it. So somebody obviously hit the light bulb, busted it, and then just threw it to the side. Never thought about changing the bulb, never thought about letting me know. So now I had no light when I went up. And I knew it was them, they're the only ones there doing work. But they probably thought, oh, no one's ever gonna come up here and look, you know.
Right.
They had no idea I was up there. But, yeah, those little things, guys, they really make a huge difference. So just keep that in mind as we're going through our day, every day. All right? That's it, guys. So let's get out there. We got a busy day, and let's make it happen.
Happy Friday.
Happy Friday.